I got a ticket a while back and I wanted to talk about it on camera. Never got around to making the video about getting the ticket itself. Mainly I was waiting for a particular piece of mail. Let's go through the particulars real quick. Now I got this January 16th, 2020. January 16th. Feels like that was 10 years ago, right? It was evening, I was driving down the street, busy street, and I was actually just going out doing some errands. Pull up to a red light, I was 2 cars back. And this is the truth, I swear. There were 2 cars in front of me at the red light. So I glance over, I look at the notes of my phone. Let me grab my phone. Important prop, how could I forget that, right? This is the phone, I've shown it before. This thing, Kyocera Brio, doesn't even have internet. Has a notepad though, so I was looking at some of the things I needed to pick up at my next stop. At a red light, mind you. So every time I'm stopped, I may take a look at the phone. I'll have it in the cup holder, so I put it face down so that I don't see it when I'm driving, so that it's not a distraction. I'm just being a good little boy. So I put the phone back to where I can't see it because I figure the light's about to turn. I glance in my mirror and I see a motorcycle there. And what I always do when I'm at a light is if I see a motorcycle, something like that, I'll move my car a little bit over in the lane so the motorcycle can get through. So I was going to go ahead and do that same thing. Didn't think anything of it. Moved over a little bit. Light turns green. Go ahead and take off. Wouldn't you know it? Motorcycle cop. It wasn't any motorcycle. It was a motorcycle cop. I didn't even notice it was a motorcycle cop. Puts the lights on me. I pull over. There's a parking lot just ahead. It was 100 feet up there. So pull into the parking lot and the officer, this is nighttime now that this happens, which could be key, but I didn't really get into that too much. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but he pulls me over. He pulls up alongside, asks for the registration, license, all that stuff. He didn't ask me if I knew what I did. He just kind of told me what I did. He said, a new law's in place. You're not allowed to use your cell phone while driving. So I said to him, not even in a smart way, I was like, oh, we're not allowed to even look at our phones while we're stopped at a red light? That kind of threw him off. Because at first he said, well, driving, right? And then he's like, oh, well, when you're in the vehicle, you're assumed to be operating the vehicle. So the phone's not allowed to be used while operating the vehicle, even if you're sitting there at a red light. Now, mind you, this is California law. I was like, this can't be serious. Obviously, I know that there's laws against using a cell phone while driving. I'm never on the phone calling somebody while I'm driving. And I didn't take it far enough in terms of doing the research or whatever it may be, right? They say ignorance is no defense. I didn't know, but still, ignorance is no defense, as they say. So I didn't take it far enough, I guess, in educating myself. I thought just looking at the phone to look at a shopping list on my phone while stopped at a red light would be fine. So he looks my information up, clean of course, comes back to the car. He said, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. And I was like, oh, great. So he asks me, which do I want first? And I said, I'll take the good news. Because at this point I'm like, man, I was cool. I got nothing on my record. Maybe this guy's going to just give me a warning and let me off. And he's like, well, the good news is that this isn't an offense that goes on your record and generates a point. You know how the point system works, can cause your insurance to go up. If you get enough points, you can get your license suspended. He tells me that, and I'm like, oh, great. Well, if that's the good news, then what's the bad news? The bad news, he tells me, is he was specifically looking for that type of violation. So I assumed it was something that had just passed for the new year, because he said he was looking specifically for that violation. And I just happened to be the unlucky one. Then he explains to me, he said, well, I saw you do like this kind of thing, and he made this movement. Like as if I did the steering wheel. That was the moving. See, we're getting back to the moving thing now. Having the phone while moving. Well, first of all, the phone was back in the holder. It'd be kind of hard to move my 2 hands on the wheel and put the phone back in and be holding a phone at the same time. He's getting back to the moving thing. He's kind of stuck on that. And then I told him, yeah, I said, well, I always do that. Whenever there's a motorcycle I see, then I go ahead and move out of the way to let them through. But no luck for me. Still got the ticket, obviously. So no luck on that in terms of clean record, this and that. Now it says here for the violation, vehicle code 23123.5A, unlawful use of a wireless phone or electronic communication device. He lists traffic as heavy, like I mentioned, but he says it was daylight, 7:30 at night. So that could be something, 7:30 at night during January, it's dark here. So that could have been something I could have used as a means of contesting it. Should I have desired technicality, right? Call up one of those clinics to help you out. So it was fine. I mean, no big deal. It happens. So you take your lumps and you move on about your day, right? So as I drive away, I go off to do my chores and I was like, oh, I'm going to contest that if possible. I had a date of March 5th on the ticket in terms of having to file a dispute or pay the bail amount, they call it. And it was $158 and some change, I believe. But then you know what happened. I was able to request a delay because of the Rona. I was able to get a 2-month delay until May, and then they automatically delayed it again another 2 months because everything was shut down at that time. So what I did was I appealed it, and I just told the judge what happened. I was honest. I wasn't going to sit there and try to lie about it. So what the process is you send your appeal in, you have to pay the bail amount, so you have to send them the check. And then they go ahead and contact the officer, get a statement from the officer, and then determine your innocence or guilt based on that. I got this back here. I've been sitting on this for about a week now. I wanted to make a video and talk about the whole experience. Now, I don't know if this is the verdict itself or if this is just telling me the officer responded or whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and open this on camera. See, not open, right? I started to tear that just now, but it's not open. So it's been sitting there and I've been like, let me get to the video. Let me do this real quick so I can see what this is. I don't expect to win, mind you, but as I said, let me get into this before I open this. When something happens like this, comply, show them your information, be courteous like you would be with other people. Maybe they let you off with a warning. It didn't work for me. As he said, he was looking for that specific thing, so I was just unlucky. But in all situations, be courteous to people because you never know when they'll do you a solid. My feeling after the fact was, I get that it may be a law, again, I didn't know. That's my problem. When you do something that you're not supposed to, and you're courteous, and he sees that I have no record, he could have done me a solid, right? I mean, he could have hooked it up for me. I mean, what good is this white privilege if I can't use it to get out of tickets, man? Come on. All right, I'm just having some fun with it. Let's see what is said here. And I'll just read this off here. All right, so it says it's a copy of the decision in a closed envelope signed off by a judge on 9/22. The first page is blank. The court's decision was entered on 8/28. It lists the bail amount here, $158.58. It says I have to pay it. Okay, here it is. He found me guilty. The court orders me to pay an amount. They already got the check for that. But then it gives you an option here to submit this request to the court within 20 days of item 1, which is a request for a new trial, a trial de novo, trial by written declaration. So it says here, if you want to appeal, I am dissatisfied with the court's decision. I request a trial de novo. I request a new trial for the following violations. And then you can specify that. So 20 days from 9/22, and it's the 10th now. It says here you have to submit to the court within 20 days of the date in item 1, which was 9/22. So I'm almost up against that now, so I'm going to have to get this out on Monday, which isn't a problem. But it gives you, and I'll just cover my information here so I can show this to you. I'm dissatisfied with the court's decision. I request a new trial de novo. I know you can't really see that great, but I better write something in there and mail this out. So the saga continues. I kind of assumed they wouldn't side with me, and I wonder if he even got the officer's statement, because to be honest, by the time I submitted this, it was 5 months after the incident. How is the officer going to recall the situation that happened between us? All right, so this is now going to be a 2-part video. So part 1, I'll keep you posted on part 2. That's probably going to be a couple months from now. The fight rages on, baby! As I said though, whether you're in the wrong or not, whether you know it or not, ignorance is a defense as I mentioned, but be courteous. If you're courteous, perhaps they show you a little love. Perhaps they show you some leeway. It didn't work out in my situation, but there's been times in the past where I've been speeding and been courteous and the officer let me go. But of course, there's been times when I was speeding a long time ago and he didn't let me go either, so. Be courteous, everybody. Maybe they'll do you a solid. Take it easy.